Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. Can everybody see and hear me? Okay, all praises to the Most High. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and read the disclaimer. If I can hear me, okay. I'm going to go ahead and read this disclaimer real quick. It says, we are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus 5:1. All right, so Shalom, Messiah, Christ bless. Pray everybody's doing all right today. We will be starting back up with the 4 chapters a day. We'll be in Ecclesiastes chapter 6 through chapter 9. So we'll give everybody a few minutes to get on before we get started. So make sure you got your notebook, pens, papers, your Bibles, so you can follow along. And if you have any questions, write them down. Any simple questions pertaining to the reading, write them down, and I will answer whatever I can at the end. I will say Ecclesiastes is one of those books, so there's a lot of questions I probably won't answer. But Ecclesiastes is one of them books, so one of them good books. So, all right, all praises, brother Josiah. Go ahead, you can scribe. Did everyone enjoy the feast last week? No, we had 2 back to back. All praises. Thank you, Josiah. Hey, all praises to the Most High. Yeah, definitely had a good time myself. I had to work most of the days, but it's like a breath of fresh air once I got off work and got to the school. So all praises. praise Him Most High. It's good to see people enjoying the Lord's feast days, because you got all these wicked high holy days, these wicked holidays that you see Esau set up, like Valentine's Day just passed yesterday. You got Christmas, all these different holidays that this world celebrates. You know, we enjoy them things in the world, but it's good to see people come into this truth and be able to enjoy them the same way. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the reading. So we're in Ecclesiastes chapter 6. Let's start off in Ecclesiastes chapter 6. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 1. It says, "There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men, a man to whom God hath given riches and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. Yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof. But a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is a evil disease. If a man begat 100 children, and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he." Verse 4. "For he cometh in with vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This has more rest. This has more rest than the other. Yea, though he live 1,000 years twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase vanity, what is man the better? For who knoweth what is good for man in his life? All the days of his vain life, which he has spendeth, what shall be after him under the sun." Chapter 7, verse 1. "A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This also is vanity. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is, that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. God also has set one over against the other, to the end that man shall find nothing after him. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not thine hand, for he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Verse 21. Also take no heed unto all the words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. For oftentimes also thine own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise hath cursed others. All this have I proved by wisdom. I said I would be wise, but it was far from me. So Solomon is saying all this if he's proved by wisdom, meaning he is done. Verse 24 says, that which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it? I applied mine heart to know, and to search, and to seek out wisdom, and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of the foolishness and madness. So Solomon is saying that he has sought out all these things, whether it be wicked or the wisdom. He sought out both. Verse 26, and I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleases God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one, to find out the account. Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, this only have I found, that God had made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Chapter 8, verse 1. Who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God. And in that in regard of the oath of God. Verse 3. Be not hasty to go out of his sight. Stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleases him. Where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Because to every purpose there is a time and judgment, therefore the misery of man is great upon him. For he knoweth not that which shall be. For who can tell him when it shall be? There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither hath he power in the day of death. And there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. All this have I seen and applied my heart unto every work that is done under the sun. There is a time wherein one man ruleth over another to his own hurt. And so I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This is also vanity. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. Verse 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feared not before God. So if we've read, I'm just clearing this up, verse 12 and 13. So first he says that, in 12 it says, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. Then it goes on to say that the wicked's life will not be prolonged. So what he's talking about is them inheriting the kingdom. So they don't have everlasting life like the the righteous would. Verse 14. There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just men unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be wicked men to whom it happeneth according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. Then I commended mirth, because a man hath no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be merry. For that shall for that shall abide with him of his labors the days of his life, which God giveth him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom, and to see the business that is done upon the earth, for also there is that neither day nor night seeth sleep with his eyes. Verse 17. Then I beheld all the work of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. Because though a man labor to seek it out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, further, a wise man think to know it, yet shall he not be able to find it. Chapter 9, verse 1. For all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hand of God. No man knoweth either love or hatred by all that is before him. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the clean, and to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth, and to him that sacrificeth not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth, as he that feareth an oath. This is an evil among all things that are done up under the sun, that there is one event unto all. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and the madness is in their heart while they live, and after that they go to the dead. For to him that is joined to all the living there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also, their love and their hatred and their envy is now perished. Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun. Go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart, for God now accepteth thy works. Let thy garments be always white, and let thy head lack not ointment. So when he says let the garments always be white, meaning stay in righteousness. Verse 8. Let thy garments always be white, and let thy head lack no ointment. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of thy life of thy vanity, which he hath given under the sun, all the days of thy vanity. For this is the portion in this life, and in thy labor which thou takest under the sun. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in a snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. This wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemeth great unto me. There was a little city, and a few men within it, and there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built great bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city, yet no man remembereth that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet, more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. All praises, all praises. That's good reading. Every single chapter was good. So, That's it for the 4 chapters. So if there's any questions, simple questions on what we read, feel free to ask if I can clear anything up. Like I said, some questions I would not answer. So are there any questions, any words that you did not know what they meant? Anything that was unclear? This is a very, very heavy reading. Just these 4 chapters in itself gives a lot of understanding to death, to life, a lot of other things. Eight and two, Ecclesiastes 8 and 2. It says, I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God. So when it's talking about the king's commandment, it's talking about the Lord's commandments. That's what he's talking about. Basically saying, keep the king's commandments, keep the Lord's commandments. And when you read verse 3, it says, be not hasty to go out of his sight, stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleases him. So the king that he's speaking about is the Lord. That's what he's speaking about. So, and yes, ointment is talking about the understanding. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to ask about Ecclesiastes 7 and 20. It says, "But if there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not." So it sounds like one of them Christian scriptures that they would love to pull out. Um, and the same thing as you read in the New Testament where it talks about we all fall short, or a just man falleth 7 times. When you read about that in Proverbs, that's all it's talking about. Osias asked bulwark. That's a good question. Let me look it up. And that's a good thing. Yeah. Every single time you read, when you're reading these chapters and you read anything in the scriptures and you see a word that you don't know, it's always important to look it up. I mean, I look up every word because it brings more understanding to what you're reading. So, what does bulwark mean? So let me read it real quick. 9 and verse 14, it says, there was a little city and a few men within it, and there came a great king against it and besieged it and built great bulwarks against it. So a bulwark is a defensive wall. So yeah, this is a defensive wall. Synonyms would be a wall, rampart, fortification, stockade, barricade. So it's defense, a defensive wall. That's what a bulwark is. They all praise for posting that definition. So yes, always have your dictionary handy when you're reading. Let me see, Sister Rebecca, about time and chance. If you just keep reading, it helps you out. Most of these verses run together. So 11 and 12, it says time and chance happening to them all. When you keep reading, it says, for man also knoweth not his time. He's going into the same thing. Time and chance meaning death. These things happen to all of us. And when he repeats this over and over about when it says, this wisdom have I seen also under the sun. He's just talking about the things that he's experienced on the earth while he was on the earth. Um, so that's what he's talking about. All right, all praise to the Most High. I pray this is was edifying for everybody. And make sure that you continue to tune into these 4 chapters a day. So with that, we'll say shalom, Most High in Christ bless. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.